we're gonna have plenty of StarCraft for everyone at home for the rest of the year and going into 2021 as well. I think the big thing is that a bunch of people are still waiting for Apollo's announcements. If you recall, he did say that
almost the end of November.
It's not quite the end of November though, but
We have a week left.
we got a week, Apollo. Make it happen. We're waiting for the schedule.
SMH my head.
For those wondering,
Full conspiracy theory mode, and we find out that they're actually still arguing with the venue people at Spodek.
For the people wondering, Apollo, of course, he is kind of leading the charge when it comes to IEM, not just with StarCraft, but with Warcraft 3 and all that stuff. He's like the tournament director at the moment over at ESL. He said that there was going to be, he announced an announcement, I guess, that there was going to be an announcement at some point in November with the rest of the schedule for EPT in 2021. We were going to have it early. We were going to have it all in November, and you know, time is running out. You know, we're getting to the end of November and we still haven't seen it.
Watch him put it in at like 11:59 p.m. 30th of November.
That's what's gonna happen. It's gonna be like a minute or two before December. It's like, god damn it.
But yeah, I would assume they're still like maybe hashing out some of the finer details here and there. You know, they don't want to bring out the announcement and say, oh, actually, we have a sudden change here with this. No, they just want to, bang it all out, make sure they can get it all done, and just stick to what they plan instead of again making those changes like they had to this year because obviously COVID.
Yeah, like I'm sure everyone is like on the edge of their seats, like waiting to see what the format changes are going to be, because I'm pretty like a lot of people are asking for like some extra slots in other regions. We did see Australia and Neeb perform incredibly well in DreamHack Winter, and NA only got 2 slots for the playoffs. You know, meanwhile like Europe got so many more. So like people are asking for more slots for NA. People are asking for more slots for Latin America. Of course, there's the regional changes that are going to be made for the Oceanic and rest of Asia region. I know that there are going to be changes there, and Risky is a little bit upset. Like it's like, oh, he's not going to be able to play anymore. But again, we're just kind of waiting for all of that to be finalized coming into 2021.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's massive, but I mean, reformatting stuff is always going to be pretty time consuming, right? You always got to be thinking of how this affects that and all that.
Yeah.
But thankfully, we don't have to worry about that. We just have to look at this very sick matchup in front of us. Starting off here on Death Aura LE, where in the bottom right-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the bottom right-hand corner, the Blues player coming down from South Korea. He is representing generic Green Wings Jaguar, the top Korean Zerg player of 2020. And we're going to give it up for Rogue. Actually, go ahead, do the intro.
Spawning in the top left-hand corner of Death Aura LE, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Red Protoss, hailing from the land, I was about to say Africa, god damn it, representing Team Africa Freaks, it is Stats.
And you know what, Light? I think I actually realize how susceptible I am to recency bias. Because I've been saying, Rogue, he's been the top performing Zerg player in Korea, specifically specifying that because I was like, oh yeah, Cyril just picked up his second DreamHack win. I completely forgot that Rogue won Katowice at the start of the year.
Mate, people be sleeping on Rogue, man. Like, especially, to be fair, like, especially the start of the year. Like, he has brought it back, which has been amazing to see, but yeah, like, it's hard to think about it that IEM Katowice was so long ago, especially because after IEM Katowice, there was like this big gap where we didn't really have like EPT events. Like there was like, they were still working things out, like it was kind of up in the air on how it was gonna go. All the offline events were being cancelled, and there was just like this big, like almost like an off season in a way, like a forced off season. And yeah, it's hard to remember that. We
don't want to remember the dark times.
Yeah. And that's also why, like, ever since EPT started, like, we've just had non-stop back-to-back StarCraft because they had to make up for those missed months. You know, everything was just crammed in together, and that's why even here in December we just have so many events.
And that's why 21 should be going more smoothly. Because we do have the time to, you know, we didn't have to postpone too many events in 2021.
For sure. Definitely, as we are getting ready to get into this series. Also, shout out, wow, what's up, Sinistro in the chat. Sinistro, he is basically the head admin over at ESL. I say that, I'm pretty sure he's been promoted and he has another title.
The big boss.
Yep.
I just call him the big boss. He's the one I gotta worry about.
But I hope you're enjoying yourself, Sinistro. Welcome. I haven't seen you in the chat before, as we are getting ready for the grand finals, this best of 5, and so far we have stats opening up with this Stargate.
Yeah, seems like going for it. I mean, in PBT, we saw he went for the Phoenixes. Now going for what I would say is what stats is more known for, starting things off with the Void Ray and a couple of oracles behind that, or at least that's what we should be seeing.
Yeah, I was about to say that, like, what we used to see, you know, before the Void Ray patch, stats, he would just go triple Oracle every single PVZ. And with great effect. Like, it was amazing to see him control those 3 Oracles, dive in, you know, pull one back, the low health back, and, you know, just continue to deal damage, dive on Queens. But again, you know, it's a new patch, it's a new season, it's a new map pool, so we'll see how stats has adapted his PVZ.
He still gets triple oracles. He just gets a Void Ray first.
It's possible.
Yeah, very much so, as both players just, you know, not going for anything too out of the ordinary in game number 1. Rogue not being any overly aggressive. That's the second Stargate light!
I love how when I make that noise intentionally, so you're like, all right, what's it about? It's mate, he's going triple Stargate!
It's spreading. The word of Paco Mike has reached Korea light.
It has. All right. So if you were watching our broadcast, the very first series we had it was the second series. Regardless, we casted Nightmare versus Rogue, and Nightmare did go for this triple Stargate play. He went mass Void Ray, but he stayed with the Void Rays, I think, too long, to be honest. Kind of to his downfall. We'll see how he incorporates this style and what his approach is.
Yeah, let's find out. He isn't overmaking the Void Race yet, but it's still early. It's only got a handful of them. Actually stopped with only the single Oracle, which, I mean, now we know why. He's going for more Stargates. Rogue building into that layer, and yeah, we're going to start seeing things really heat up very shortly.
Definitely. I'm just really curious. Yeah, I'm really curious to see, like, when does Stats stop Void Ray production? When does he throw down his Twilight Council? When does he transition to a Fleet Beacon as well? Like, these are all things that different Protoss players have different ways of going for it, different styles of play. You know, we have a couple of players who like going from Void Ray straight into carriers. We have other players who go Void Ray into Storm, into Archons to try and hard counter the Hydras. Regardless, Rogue, he still hasn't scouted. Okay, now he has seen the Void Rays.
Yeah, he sees that's more than just the standard Overlord clearing Void Ray that you've got there. What are you planning, my Afrika friend?
Yeah, I mean,
just like that, Rogue already getting prepared. Go throw down the Hydra then.
Yeah, I mean, Rogue, he played against this earlier today, right?
Like, he's warmed up.
Exactly, he's warmed up. He was able to fight Nightmare, I believe. I'm not too sure if it was on this map specifically. I think it was, but yeah, he was able to deal with this with mass Hydra. I do like this. We already have the Twilight Council being thrown down and the Forge for some Zealots, I imagine.
Yeah, it's always important to have. Yep, there we go. Charge being researched there. Always important to have a bit of a ground buffer just to make sure that those Hydras don't get right on top of the air army. Templar Archives also being made here from stats. And it's just another way of keeping the anti-air back.
So this is what Nightmare was missing. I say that, but Stats has to be careful that the wall doesn't... Okay, the wall is not a wall!
The wall is breached! The wall is breached! And Rogue coming in with all of these lings. Stats trying to drone drill to the best he can, but there's not a lot of damage output other than a single Void Ray. One of them even going down to the Spore Crawler.
Yeah, I mean, Statue was trying to deal some damage at the same time. These Void Rays are looking to try and deny the third, but there are plenty of Hydras to thwart this. Meanwhile, the Ling run by was able to, you know, disrupt the economy a little bit, but only 2 pros went down. And this is what Nightmare was missing. We were talking about, I was bringing it up a lot because it was like, God damn it, Nightmare, you didn't have any AoE whatsoever. Storm is on the way, but the wall, mate, Stats, what are you doing? You're the Shield of Fire.
I guess it falls down to the sexy point or something.
Exactly, the shield, it's weak against the sexiness of Rogue. As Rogue, he just continues to slip on in. The wall is still not a wall, by the way, so Lings can continue to dive in. And what's important is that Rogue, he's dealing some damage, but he's also scouting the tech.
Yeah, he's dealt a lot of damage here, taking out 7 probes. So more importantly, he sees that, you know, something is being researched there. You know, there is the Chrono Boost on the Templar Archives. So searching things up, going into his Roaches. Not what you normally get against Void Rays, but Stats, stop making Void Rays.
Exactly. Like, again, when he played against Nightmare, he went pure Hydra Ling Lurker. Now we have a couple of Roaches coming in because Stats, he did transition much sooner into a ground-based army. Like, you can't just go pure Hydra against this.
You really cannot. There are a lot of storms here, banked up Stats. And this is a decent choke point for him to take advantage of. Prismatic Alignment really keeping the Roaches back, but there are so many of them, Light.
There are so many. You know what? So far, I think only 1 storm has been able to land well. Like, so far, the splits have been good, but there are still so many storms available for Stats.
But most importantly for Stats, he kept that base alive.
Yes,
and now... Well, for now, anyway.
Yeah, for now. We do have so many Ravagers being morphed in for Rogue. Rogue is continuing to apply pressure, and he does get stormed on.
That he does. A lot of these Ravagers really taking a bruising. But the storms are starting to run out here, Light. The Templar are getting very exposed. Zergling's just rushing right on top of this army. Rogue is at double the army supply of Stats.
Exactly. You know what? The storms are running out. There are a couple left for Stats, but the rest of the army is pushing on forward, and the Nexus is going to be going down.
Yeah, finally it falls. Stats breathed a little bit of sigh of relief when he did manage to get that Nexus up, but yeah, that is quickly faded.
The High Templar. Oh my god.
So exposed. Picked off by the Lings of all units. And the wall is still not a wall!
The wall is still not a wall. Stats, the Lings, they slip on in at the same time. Oh, the storms are good, and there are still plenty of High Templar, but you know what? He's just being spread thin.
That he is a little bit too thin. Rogue, he's everywhere at once. He can fight every single, you know, pocket of army that Stats is split into. And Stats, I mean, he got to concentrate his forces, but he doesn't have a lot of forces to begin with.
Exactly. Oh, the Biles land as well. The majority of the Void Rays do fall. Only 2 remaining. Only a handful of High Templar. That was the last storm, forcing them to turn into Archons.
And the Archons are pretty tanky, but again, I'm just looking at the army supply difference. I mean, to be fair, Rogue doesn't have that much creep, so it's harder for him to reinforce this, but yeah, he's so far ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Like, the tech has gone down, the Cyber Core went down earlier as well, so there's only Zealots that are being warped in for Stats. He lost his 4th end. GG
is called. Rogue, reacting perfectly to everything he sees.
GG, and with that, Rogue, it takes game 1. Again, as you said, like, you say reacting perfectly to everything he sees. The reason why he was able to see everything, mate, Stats, where was that wall?
Well, there's a reason why no, Demauer is a different Protoss player, like.
Exactly. And before
we're looking at the shield here.
Before we get into next series, your mic is actually becoming a little bit crackly. I don't know if
Oh, there are thunderstorms. It is a monsoon season.
Oh, okay. Take care. By the way,
yeah.
I know there have been some pretty heavy storms in Southeast Asia, really affecting players like Miyamika and those in Vietnam as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as bad in Singapore just because, like, geographically, it's whatchamacallit. Yeah, I don't really remember how it was explained to me as a kid, but it was something about, like, geographically we're not on the plates or something like that. But for the past, like, weeks or so, people have just nonstop been talking about, why is the sky so dark? Are we gonna die? It's never been this dark in the past. It's not that bad. In fact, I quite like it. It's cooler nowadays.
Yeah, definitely. And just speaking a little bit more about game number one, like again, I really loved how Stats played that out. It did look a little bit more, or much more refined compared to Nightmare earlier today. But again, like the fact that the Lings kept getting in, on top of that, like the Void Rays across the map, they didn't deal any damage at all. You know, typically you want to be able to deny a base or snipe a spawning pool or do something with the Void Rays, but yeah.
Oh boy, yeah, it wasn't quite working out for him, but this is the time to start turning things around. We are on Oxide LE, and this is the time to oxidize, to breathe, catch your breath, get your bearings, think of something different, or maybe just stick to the same plan. It's working for the player in the top right-hand corner map, all the way to the top right-hand corner. The blue Zerg coming out from South Korea, top performing Zerg player of 2020, representing Gender Greenwings Jaguar. He's gonna go straight and turn right himself. We have Rogue.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Oxide LE, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Red Protoss, representing Team Afrika Freaks. It is Stats.
I'm gonna need a favor from you. I'm gonna need you to repeat what you were saying as you were loading in, because I had a point that I wanted to bring up, or I had something I wanted to bring up, but now I completely forgot what it was.
It was about Stats counterattacking with Void Rays, not dealing any damage. It was it was about Stats not having a wall, Rogue responding perfectly to it.
Right. Oh, okay. It's actually okay. Never. It's actually really stupid what I want to bring up. No, I was just gonna say this brings us back to the this brings us back to the debate. Should Protoss have a door?
Oh, did you see the meme on Reddit? How it's like
I did.
Protoss should have a drawbridge.
Yeah, Protoss should have like a yeah.
Oh
What was
god.
the other one? Protoss should have a spring trap, or no? It was something else. The drawbridge one was what got me.
I mean, I'll be on like. I would expect a player of the caliber of Stats to be on top of having like a unit there on hold position, you know? Like I don't think it's fair saying that necessarily applies to Stats. I think he just made a little bit of a mistake there in game number one. Hopefully we don't see more of that in the rest of the series.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to make a mistake when your opponent is Rogue, right? When he's when he's at you at every angle, when you really have a lot to think about. And Rogue, I mean, he's absolutely on fire today. I mean, we saw him take out Nightmare 2-0. He took out Dark 3-0, which probably a lot of people expected, to be fair. But I mean, Dark usually at least takes one game off of Rogue.
Yeah, Rogue has just been on fire, and so far this game we see, so far anyway, Stats is going for the same Stargate opener. I doubt we're going to see triple Stargate play. It's the kind of build that you throw in like maybe once, maybe twice in a series, but 2 games in a row, like, I don't know if that's the best idea.
What if, hear me out, Light, 1 Stargate, 1 Fleet Beacon.
Look, this isn't Roddy, all right?
Straight to carrier.
This
no,
isn't.
No Aeon Pulse Crystals, no Flux Veins, straight into carriers.
You know, I want Stats to at least take 1 game, all right? Like this. Calm down, buddy. And I do also want to quickly say, buenas noches to Vortex in the chat. I hope you rest well. Vortex, he kind of like Sinistro. He is also an admin from Latin America, Sinistro being from Brazil, Vortex being from Peru. And yeah, he normally admins the Latin American events over at La Espida. La Espida is like the pylon show, except for Latin America. And they also run these massive community events for the Latin American scene. So shout out to Vortex. He does a lot.
Good night, Vortex.
Good night, good nights. Or good morning, as it is 7 a.m.
Well, I think you're forgetting the most important part of his resume. He makes duct tapes.
He does. If you are familiar with the CranKy Ducklings, we do have some duct tapes, which are these highlight reels that Vortex makes. They're amazing, they're beautiful, and we do have a couple in the pipeline that should be coming up pretty soon if you're interested in that sort of thing.
No pressure, Vortex.
No pressure.
And speaking of no pressure, Stats actually only going for a double Oracle here, but will be supplementing that with a couple of Adepts. Pretty good position there. Our pretty good choke point to utilize, and now the Oracle's coming in, really showing what they can do. 6 drones going down.
Oh, 6 drones do go down. The Oracles were just barely able to make it out alive. And yes, so far, nicely done by Stats, able to keep the Oracles alive so you can dive in once again later on, or just use them for scouting purposes, you know, able to use that revelation. As behind this, he is looking to expand and take that third.
Yes, like so. So things going pretty well for Stats this game. I mean, I do recall he did take the third base kind of early last time, but yeah, he's got a lot more defenses up for it this time. Taking this very seriously with shield batteries.
Oh yeah, definitely. And Rogue, he's a little bit disappointed. He wanted to try and cancel that third with all these things, but you know, there are 2 adepts, there's a shield battery, there are even Oracles. If they need to, they can go back home.
Yeah, not going to be taking that risk here. Rogue isn't. But still going to see whatever he can get done. Meanwhile, behind that, he is going for the lair, so very quickly we'll be able to see what tech our blue Zerg friend throws down.
Yeah, this
Stats? Oh, sorry.
No, go on.
Nah, I was just going to say, Stats going for a very quick Templar Archives.
Yeah, pretty interesting. It looks like he wants to head into some Charge Lot Archon composition. It's something that you don't see too often, and alright, I mean, this is going to do fairly well against like a Roach-based army. I was about to point out that Rogue, he was being pretty greedy, just droning up as heavily as possible. I'm sure he's going to be looking to expand and take a 4th base pretty soon, as he's kind of finished droning up for now. Going to be making a couple of Roaches.
Yeah, about 65 to 70 is the checkpoint for Zerg in this phase of the game. You want to be focusing on getting your units out at this stage.
Mate, look what's on the way. An infestation pit.
That is a 6-minute 30 infestation pit coming down from Rogue, and you gotta wonder: is this just gonna be a rush into Hive, or is this gonna be what we probably think it's going to be?
Swarmhost.
Swarmhost.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well. Swarmhost. It feels about right for Swarmhost to come into play for Rogue at the moment. Oh my god, beautiful juggling by Stats.
Yeah, not losing any hull damage there, or not taking any hull damage, and managing to really shave off the link count.
Oh.
I mean,
yeah.
That's a straight into Hive.
Okay, fair enough. I was feeling the Swarmhost, but it looks like no, Rogue. He's playing a little bit more standard. This isn't Cham. Cham has been diluting my mind a little bit, or infecting it with all this Swarmhost play. He is going to be looking to get into Hydras. I imagine the Hive is lined up for the Lurker Den, so you can go straight into those Lurker upgrades. Yeah, more of a European style of play.
I'm just looking at the I just feel like I'm looking into a dark future right now for Stats. He isn't aware. I think he saw the Hive. Let's double check that real quick.
He did not.
He did not see the Hive. Oh, he doesn't know.
He does not know. And there we go. The Lurker Den is on the way again for those upgrades, for those Hive upgrades. And at the moment, what does Stats really have against that? He does have Storm on the way, which is nice. But again, not ideal against Lurkers. Like, you know, Disruptors, they can do well as well.
Yeah. I feel like it's difficult to find a a direct counter for the Lurkers, but the thing for the PvZ, right, if you're going up against the Lurkers, there is quite a lot of time where the Protoss player will have the better army. Unupgraded Lurkers, they really don't do anything against Protoss.
Yeah, and this is a really interesting decision here from Stats, because he's throwing down the Fleet Beacon and 2 more Stargates. So I was about to say that I mean, I was gonna say that when it comes to this matchup and going up against Lurkers, like typically you want like multiple forms of AoE, like you want like Storm and Colossus or Disruptors, or sometimes even all 3. But we see Stats, he is looking to try and tech into that Skytoss army, whether it's for Tempest or for carriers. But yeah, he is going to allow Rogue to just tech on up and get his upgrades, and I'm just afraid that like Stats is going to be caught with his pants down a little bit, you know, trying to transition into these carriers.
Yeah, that's not all ideal, but on the bright side, if Stats is able to survive long enough, what is the anti-air looking like right now for Rogue? It is Ravages, which is not very reliable, and Hydralisk, which, I mean, he's going to be turning a bunch of them into Lurkers.
Exactly.
He's going to have even less of them out. Stats just needs to survive and find some way to slow down the Protoss, or the Zerg army, rather. Because it takes a lot. It's going to take a long while for Sets to get that army he wants. Meanwhile, how much is Rogue going to be able to bank up? How much larva is he going to get? How quickly can he remax after each engagement?
Yeah, that's going to be the question. I mean, he did... No, never mind. He has not scattered all the tech coming out from Stats, but he does have a Spire on the way, so he will be able to whip out some Corruptors if he needs to. And here we go. The army is going to come in, and the carriers, they're not quite done yet, only just now being produced.
Yeah, one of them is here, and, just seeing if it can get anything done. Not a lot of Hydras here, but then again, Interceptors, yeah, they don't do a single carrier full worth of Interceptors is going to do that much damage.
Yeah, I mean, but what's important is that, like, Rogue hasn't really committed to anything. The Lurkers weren't with the main army. They were kind of lagging behind, and they're even coming back home to defend.
Yep. The ideal unit to deal against these charged run-bys. They absolutely shred them when they're all in the line.
Oh my god, and you know what? I think Stats has bought enough time because you know what? The carriers are coming out, and Rogue, he's maxed out, but so much of that supply is dead in roaches.
Indeed it is. They aren't going to be able to do anything. Rogue doesn't quite have that bank yet, where it can instantly remax all of his, everything into Hydras. I mean, just look at the gas count.
Exactly, he's barely got any, and he's got plenty of Lurkers as well. Lurkers and Roaches are not really ideal against carriers. To be fair, Stats doesn't have too many of them quite yet. He only has 2 with his main army, and oh my god.
Yeah, really good storm here. But now his stance has been revealed. Rogue knows exactly what he needs to counter this.
Yeah, Stats, he has to make sure he takes the engagement perfectly, and so far the storms are decent. There are now 4 carriers joining the fray.
Yeah, meanwhile there are a lot of run-bys happening, really wreaking havoc on the in the middle lines of Rogue, taking out so many drones. And again, this is going to hurt Rogue so much as his gas gets expended, as he is forced to use more and more minerals.
Yeah, and I love the way that Stats is engaging this army. He circles around to attack the Lurkers, and I mean, he may lose his base, but he already has his probes kind of evacuated. But the carriers are getting a little bit exposed, but there's just not enough anti-air. Or is there?
No, there is not. Rogue trying to concave in with all of his Hydras, but not quite finding it. Meanwhile, I thought for sure D-Natural was going to be so exposed.
I mean, it is like he's looking to go into the natural. The Lurkers are kind of covering his backside. When it comes to the ground army, the Archons, they're not really in the most ideal position. Are there enough carriers to contend with all these Hydras?
I think there are enough carriers, but there aren't enough interceptors. They're still building up slowly and slowly. Rogue, he's finishing up his +3 upgrades here and range upgrades here. And he's just going to do so much damage against the interceptors, but now they're really popping off. We're starting to approach a critical mass of carriers, but only starting to. And I mean, Rogue, he's got a critical mass of Hydras, it seems.
Exactly, the Hydra's just pushing him forward. I was waiting for the flank of High Templar for the storms, but the High Templar are just going across the map. No storms available to deal with the Hydras. What are they doing?
Nope. Contemplating.
Oh my god! That's what I was waiting for. I'm like, all right, he's got plenty of High Templar. I'm ready for the storm. I'm ready for the storm. Mate, the storm's not here. The High Templar went across the map. Now they're coming back home. Oh my god, it's too late.
Oh, it is far too late. Rogue is right on top of all the production. He's going to be able to take out the fleet beacon. No more carriers available. And this, I guess this just goes to show how important it is to have that ground buffer against these Hydras.
Exactly, you know what? There are High Templar with Storm, but they're wasting their storms over towards a couple of Lurkers.
No, stats, no. Rogue, I mean, he's gonna get cleaned out here. But now I feel like he's bought himself enough time. He's starting to rebuild his army. Okay, to be fair, Stats, his carriers are still alive.
His carriers are still alive, but the problem is the economy. Like, Stats is down to 2 base economy. He's trying to take that 4th base, but it's gonna be going down. To be fair, Stats has a massive mineral bank, and if you remember earlier, Stats was killing a lot of drones across the map with those Zealots and with those Oracles. So Rogue isn't in the best economic situation, but again, like, that was still a big loss for Stats.
It was absolutely massive, but key units stay alive.
Yeah, and something that I'm surprised about is that the Spire finished up earlier. There are still no Corruptors.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Rogue did have a bit of a low gas count earlier on, but yeah, by now it's looking pretty solid. Oh, not the best engagement right now for our Zerg player.
God.
As all of the Interceptors got on top of all of the Hydralists.
Yeah, you know what? Look at all these High Templar. Like, they have so much energy banked up, and with that, like, he can just blanket the entire army with storms.
He's not even doing that. He has remade enough interceptors. GG is called. Stats gonna be taking game number 2. 10 up the series sideways. 1-1.
GG. And you're right. I'm so surprised. He didn't even need to use any storms. He didn't use any storms. Carriers, they're pretty good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you just gotta make sure you have enough money for interceptors and stats. He barely had enough.
Yeah, I'm so impressed by how patient Stats was. Like, that's the most important thing. Like, that he very rarely allowed a carrier to die. Like, he kept, like, he was always on the edge of vision with those carriers, making sure that it was only the interceptors that were going down.
Yeah. Say not my head in agreement there. I'm still not sure what was going on with those High Templar, but it worked out in the end there for Stats.
Yeah, you know what? Like, he knew what he was doing.
He knew what he was doing.
He just wanted to make
50 steps ahead.
Exactly. He wanted to make sure those High Templar were safe, you know, across the map where there wasn't any Hydras, you know.
Yeah, you need to bank up the energy.
Mm-hmm.
Put them somewhere safe. Let them rest up and get that energy.
Exactly, and again, the most important part, to be fair, he didn't even need the High Templar. It all came down to the carrier count, keeping them all alive, making sure they were all replenished with interceptors, and that massive mineral bank really paid off for Stats.
I mean, yeah, true. We're gonna find some excuse of like, yeah, the Templars zoned out the Zerg army. No, it really didn't. But anyway, speaking of Zerg, we are gonna be looking at the Zerg player here. In the top left-hand corner of Lightshade, LE. Spawning all the way in the top left-hand corner, we have the blue Zerg player. Coming out from South Korea, he is representing Jinner Greenwings, Jaguar. Everybody give it up for the sexy boy. He's Rogue.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Lightshade LE, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Red Protoss, representing Team Afrika Freaks. It is Stats.
I just remembered that Rogue has the special portrait.
He did. He's harnessing... He's been harnessing the power of Juanito.
Yeah. Little did we know that he's actually harnessing the power of Armani.
Oh my god, that's it, mate. And I mean, we'll see. You know, we are tied up 1-1. I'm glad that Stats has been able to take a put a point on the board. Things were looking a little bit scary for him in game number 2, but again, the patience of Stats was impeccable. You know, keeping all of his carriers alive, the unit control, you know, sending those High Templar across the map to keep them alive. Kappa ? But you know, it worked out for him in the end, and now we're tied up.
That we are. Basically, pretty much a best of 3 from here on out.
Mm-hmm.
Although not really, because the past still happens.
It did.
Gotta look at this not just from the games that are going to be happening from here on out, but most of the games that already happened.
Exactly, and so far things have kind of, you know, been slowly building up here in game number 3. Nothing too crazy. Of course, there was that block of the natural, forcing Rogue to take the unnatural natural location, and I'm really curious to see if Stats is going to go for a Stargate opener once again, or switch things up with the Twilight Council.
Yeah, I almost want to say that Stargate may be too obvious. I mean, not only did he do it 2 games in a row already, but we are now on Lightshade, which would really favor the Stargate play. I feel like, yep, there we go. Twilight Council now being thrown out for Stats.
Mm.
So
yeah.
really changing things up.
Yeah, honestly, I appreciate this from Stats. Like, I agree. Like, I don't think your opening Stargate like every single game is the best of ideas, especially against a player like Rogue, such a strong, scary player like Rogue. So we do have a Twilight Council 4 now. Oh, we do have a Robo being thrown down as well. Are you feeling some Glaive Adepts?
You know what? I am feeling the Glaive Adepts. I mean, Stats, he already forced Rogue to take the more exposed base. Why not?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
That take too long.
there isn't
DTs.
Exactly. Like, there's such a good opportunity here, especially because of the natural location. Here we have Glaive starting up here for Stats. So we'll get to see, you know, how Stats handles his adepts compared to someone like Zest.
Yeah, well, I always just look back at around 2018-ish, or maybe even 2019-ish, if I get my years right, and I just remember Stats being the one player who, I mean, he's kind of the hipster, Toss. He was the one who did Glaive Adepts before Zest made it cool.
Pretty much. And I think my Twitch is bugged at the moment because apparently the Spanish intro has been completed.
Oh.
Oh boy. All right.
If only we could do it for Twitchel.
if only we could have been able to do it for Juanito. That would have been perfect, but unfortunately it didn't line up. We'll try and do it in the next game, maybe in the game after that. You know, we will need a little bit of time to prepare to get something ready for it.
Yeah, gotta be things up, but for now, we're just gonna be looking at these adepts as they make their way across the map. Rogue did scout that there were a couple of adepts going across, and he is already getting prepared. Roach is on the way.
Yeah, Roaches are on the way, and the Lings outside the main base were able to spot the adepts as well. So Rogue, he had a decent heads up, and we should be able to prepare for this. We do already have spores on the way just in case DTs were incorporated. Roach is already out as well.
But hear me out, Light. What if Sats split his adepts?
What if?
What
We'll see.
That's what he's looking to do, but he needs to find the opening for it first.
Yeah, and I haven't seen this in quite some time. Again, like, we have seen Disruptor drops as a follow-up being really popular in this PvZ matchup, but Stats, he's a little bit more old school. We have Immortal, so, you know, after this Adept pressure, whether it deals damage or not, there should be like an Immortal Sentry follow-up.
That it should, and that is going to be the real hard hitter. Okay, Adepts do not commit to Shade. Picks off a couple of Roaches here and there. But
nice.
Yeah, not quite the damage done, but to be fair, Sats not losing too much.
Yeah, I mean, if he committed to the Shade, he would have just been surrounded by the Lings, so really nice decision making there. And you know what? Because of the low Roach count, he's able to go toe-to-toe, picks off a Ravager.
Nicely done. The Ravagers are really the unit that Stats has to worry about right now. Is it just means that there's so much less opportunity for Stats to, you know, start warping in more units, you know, make his Warp Prism static.
Exactly, even clearing some creep, utilizing that Observer. Meanwhile, this entire time, the Warp Prism has been sharking around, waiting for an opportunity to dive into the main base, but there have been Queens there to stop that.
Stats is just really planning ahead right now. Is really waiting for his tech to finish up. Immortal on the way, and Forge could be finishing up real quick. Here's that push, getting ready. He's moving across the map.
Oh boy, this is gonna hit so much harder because, again, like, Stats never committed to any Shades. Like, he's barely lost any Adepts. He's only lost 3 Adepts this game, and now he's gonna be able to meet up with the rest of this army. We'll see if he decides to push, which I think he should, or if he decides to try and stay back home and defend his third.
Yeah, he might want to wait for, you know, Blink and +1, maybe another round of gateway units, but yeah, he's about to push out very soon. Rogue not content with hanging back though.
Yeah, Rogue, like, he's trying to make more Ravagers, which is going to be key in the defense to be able to deal with the force fields that are going to be coming out from all of these sentries, even clearing out some rocks as well, expanding, taking his 4th base. Nice. And he does also have his upgrades on the way as well, and Stats is actually not pushing out.
Interesting. All right, just going around with his Warp Prism, trying to see, you know, what the situation's looking like at Rogue's bases. Is there an opening he can exploit? But the answer is not quite yet. Another very quick infestation pick coming out from Rogue here, Light.
Yeah, but this time it is lined up with the Hydra Den, so I imagine once again Rogue is going to be wanting to go into that Hydra, Lurker, maybe even eventually Viper, a kind of ideal unit composition, and I mean, that's going to fare fairly well against this more ground-based army from Stats, you know, nothing in the sky.
Yeah, if he can get him out in time. The Stats, here he is, he's making his mark. +1 gonna be finishing up real soon. Blink shortly behind it. And this is the time. This is where Stats is looking to do as much damage as possible, where he really needs to do as much damage as possible.
Oh yeah, at the same time, there's a massive Ling run by at the third base, but Rogue doesn't commit to this because he's trying to focus here onto the main engagement.
Yeah, pulls back the Lings, and they're actually looking to go for a flank right here, and they do not commit. Yeah, circling around back to the base over there.
Yeah, they're circling back around, looking to try and get a surround. Meanwhile, the force fields are good. They are going down to the Ravager shots. The Lings are coming in to try and surround, but they are deterred once again.
Yeah, the Blink really helping out over there. They're still, the Immortals are still alive, but they are very exposed right now. Not going to be able to be juggled by this Warp Prism. And the Biles are starting to land. A Immortal gets taken out, but I feel like there's too much Protoss. Let's see how the reinforcements for Rogue look like.
Exactly, the Biles, they were good, but they weren't good enough. The Stalkers, they blink forward. It looks like the fourth base will be going down.
Just like that. And Stats not going to be waiting to overstaying his welcome here. Backing away to a bit more defensible position.
Exactly, like his positioning was just beautiful, like being able to make sure that the Lings, they never got to surround the army and attack at the same time and go for that massive surround with the main army of the Roach Ravager. Like Stats, he was able to just segment off and deal with them one by one, and now Stats has been able to take out the fourth base. Rogue, he's trying to expand over to the south, but again, Stats, he's still here sharking around, looking to rotate, try and get up that ramp.
Yeah, not quite finding it as of yet, but Rogue actually giving up the high ground here. And that's a very good split here, dodging almost every Bile. Stats is, and yeah, he still can't quite go up that ramp, but he can go up this ramp.
Yeah, exactly, he does find another way up, but meanwhile, he did lose an Immortal earlier, only 2 Immortals remaining for Stats.
Yeah, he's gonna be so careful right now, especially because he's not being too active with his Warp Prism. He would much rather use it to reinforce rather than to micro and to juggle these Immortals. More Biles do find their landing, and Rogue does have a decent concave, trying to flank with some units as well, but here come the boys,
exactly.
And another warp in here from Stats should just about secure his victory. GG is called. Whew.
Stats takes game number 3. Like, oh god, the positioning, the army movement, the micro, like it was just everything that Stats needed to break through Rogue, take out that fourth base, and just continue on. And Rogue, he realized the position he was in. He didn't have the larva to make another wave of Lings. He was forced to pull the boys, and it just wasn't enough.
It really was not. Rogue really trying to go for that hive, for those upgraded lurkers, but Stats hit him right at the right where it hurt most.
Exactly, and a lot of that came into play because of the opener, right? Like the adepts, they were so active. Stats, he never committed to anything, so he had those adepts available to him for that main engagement, you know, with the rest of his Immortal Sentry and with those Stalkers as well, making that push that much more deadly, lined up perfectly with +1. And as you said, there wasn't a single lurker made.
No, there was not. I was getting a little bit worried there because I was typing in some stuff and I was like, oh wait, did I miss the invite?
I noticed you weren't here, so I did send you the invites. And as we are loading in to game number 4, potentially the final game, Yaku, do you have an intro ready for us?
Almost.
Okay.
You know what? I'll be able to get it done as I'll improv.
Oh boy. You gotta improv Spanish? Oh god. Okay, let's go. As of course, shout out to the chat, as we did have a Spanish intro redeemed. So since this is potentially the final game of the series, mate, you gotta whip it out.
Y en la esquina del mapa que aparece en la esquina del mapa, en uno de los mapas actuales, tenemos el jugador Zerg Azul, que representa a Jiner Greenwings Jaguar, el chico sexy que irá recto y girará a la derecha, es Picaro.
Y aquí en la esquina superior de la mapa Pilares de Oro tenemos el jugador, el Protoss, el rojo. Tenemos el escudo de Ayer. Él es arriba 2-1 en esta serie. Lo puede terminar. Él puede ser el campeón. Él es Stats.
Ay, ay, ay. Dios mío.
Ay, 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 oh my god. Unfortunately no tenemos Juanito. Pobrecito Juanito no podía venir aquí a los finales, pero aquí tenemos un Zerg y un Protoss. We have Rogue and Stats here ready to duke it out. And mates, do you think Rogue can bring it back and take it to the ace match?
Absolutely. I think he can.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's one of the best, if not the best performing Zergs in all of South Korea. And in that last game, he was just a little bit too greedy, right? We were talking about he teched up a little bit too quickly, and that money that he invested in that infestation pit, in the hive, in the lurkers, it just didn't come to fruition because he needed that army then and there, you know, at his fourth.
Yeah, and I have a feeling that Rogue isn't going to be doing too much of the same thing here on Pillars of Gold. It is a little bit more Zerg favored. I think nowadays, you know, Terran and Protoss players have figured out ways to sort of mitigate that, but I feel like Rogue is just going to play a lot more solid. He's going to focus more on Ling, maybe not necessarily Bane, but definitely Lings, and, you know, just try to find a way to gain that map control, keep stats on his center map.
Yeah.
Which you can totally do on Pillars of Gold.
Definitely. It does feel like Rogue, he has kind of been on the back foot. Like, earlier, to be fair, like, he was trying to do a lot with those Lings, with those run-bys, but he just couldn't find an angle. Like, he couldn't find a way into the Shield of Ire. And we'll see what happens here, because Stats, he's going back to do some Stats things. He is going for that Stargate opener. Yeah,
not quite his bread and butter, but, you know, something that he does like to do.
Oh my god, yeah, definitely. We'll see what he decides to do. Like, again, he is up in this series, so he can afford to maybe even whip out the triple Stargate play again, you know? Like, it isn't the worst of ideas, but, ooh, actually, no Void Ray.
No Void Ray this time, going straight for the Oracles, and I gotta tell you, Light, I favor this so much just looking at what Rogue's pumping out.
Oh boy, yep. We have Ling lined up to start, and we have a massive Ling flood coming across the map, even pulling a couple of boys.
Pulling a couple of what?
Oh my god, he's looking to try and... Exactly.
Get behind that wall and really start to attack from two different angles. He's committing so much of this, but here comes the Oracle, right on schedule.
Exactly, the Oracle is here to chip away at all of these drones. The Lings are going to be able to kill the first Adept, the second Adept. There's no shield battery.
Oh, but a secondary wall does pop out. The Oracle is about to run out of energy, though, but Gateway has just about finished up. Stats is going to be able to warp in units much, much quicker this time.
Yeah, so much more quicker. I mean, the Lings are trying to bust through, and it looks like the Gateway is close to going down, but you know what? There's a sentry behind this. A force field is available.
This is the Shield of Ire absolutely at play. The sentry putting in so much work. Second Oracle comes in. And just like that, Rogue, he's repelled.
Oh my god, and he's making nothing but Lings. Like, there's an opportunity, like, if Rogue wanted to, he could try and macro out of this, try and drone up, but he's making nothing but Lings, rushing across the map, trying to bust through, and he is able to kill one of these pylons. But again, like, there is still a sentry, there are still force fields.
Look at all these walls behind the wall. Stats, he's not even using force field yet. He wants to make sure that he does not waste it. There we go. Force field does get expended, and it buys the probe a little bit more time to get some secondary buildings out. Another Oracle here. You gotta activate the beam. Activate the beam. Meanwhile, the overcharge is used on the shield battery to keep these pylons alive. And oh my god, Rogue is trying to bust through, but he just can't do it. So hectic. That's it. GG. It's called Stats, the Shield of Ire. I ran out of breath towards the end there. That was such a hectic game.
Oh my god, GG, well played. Rogue, what are you thinking? You want to try and rush? The Shield of Ire? Stats himself, the most offensive Protoss player in the world? Mates. Hey, what are you doing? GG.
GG is called. This is where we find out that day, game number 1, where Stats left his door open. It's all mind games. You wanted Rogue to think that he was going to leave it open now.
Exactly. Oh my god, the 1000 IQ play coming out from Stats, such a big brain. That wall, that open wall earlier that allowed Rogue to take that one map in this series was a diversion. It led to this, it led to Pillars of Gold. And mate, Stats, he was solid. He was the Shield of Ire. He is the Shield of Ire.
And he's going to maintain that. He's going to continue to be that Shield of Ire, and this is just making me excited. Like, about a little bit more than a week from now, we do have Super Tournament coming out where Stats was able to qualify. Let me just real quick double check. I think Asus RG is after. No, Asus RG is before. And Stats was the only invited Protoss player, happening on this, wait, 27th. Okay, so today's 23rd. Friday will be Asus ROG. Stats and Rogue both going to be showing their stuff there, and I mean, we saw what happened last time Stats played in the ROG.
Yeah, definitely. Like, as a reminder to everyone in the chat, like, there's still plenty of StarCraft in the month of December. We have Asus ROG, we have TSL 6, we have Super Tournament, the DreamHack Last Chance qualifier, as well as all of these weeklies. Not just these ESL Cups, but everything else in between.
It's a lot. We're gonna bang out that December is gonna be a really intense month, but then you know what? Then everybody just gets ready. Katowice, probably in February. I mean, we have no confirmation on that yet, but it's probably in February.
Yeah, it's probably in February, and GG, what a series, what a game. Like, congratulations to Stats. He is our champion for ESL Open Cup number 46 Asia.
You know what? Yeah, you want to know a fun fact, Light?
Give it to me.
That's Stats' 8th win or championship right after we did Intro Español número 8.
Oh, you know what? That's what it was.
That's what it was.
It was all about the Spanish intro. It gave Stats the power of Juanito to hold, and yeah,
we thought it would empower Rogue because of his avatar, but no.
Maybe our Spanish was bad enough that it went from Rogue to Stats. Oh god, feels bad, man.
That's how it happens. That's the science.
Yeah, that's just how it goes sometimes. And yeah, I'm just quickly updating. So as the people in the chat can see on the screen, we have our weekly schedule ahead of us. Our next broadcast is going to be the Taco Cup qualifier number 1. It is going to be in how many hours? It's going to be in 2 days and 11 hours. So we have a couple of days break before we get into that, and then we are into our regular broadcast. Of course, we have Master Swan Open. You know, we run, if you're unfamiliar with the CranKy Ducklings, every single Friday at 7 p.m. KST, we run amateur events for Diamond players or for Masters players, depending on if it's an MSO or an SDO. And then over the weekend, we have plenty of events for Latino America, like Sentimental Latino. We have Battle of the Americas. We have Oceanic events like Grand Platypus Open, Demi-C Weekly, and all that good stuff.
It's a lot.
Yeah, we are live throughout the week, and of course, sprinkled in there, like we're going to be trying to cast the qualifiers for TSL. We are confirmed to cast the qualifiers for DreamHack Last Chance as well. So hit that follow button if you enjoyed our casting. Like, we are live throughout the week. It isn't just me and Yaku, but you know, we have a team of casters, and you know, we do the best we can to bring as much StarCraft as we can to the viewers.
It must all be covered. That is the goal.
Exactly. And with that, Yaku, why don't you tell the people, who are you?
Who am I?
Who am I?
Well, I mean, I have my, let me find my identity card. No, Twitch.tv/Yakuzaku1. I'm definitely going to be streaming this week, looking to get some Valorant down, looking to get back into StarCraft 2. And maybe throw in a single player game or something here or there. And other than that, Twitter.com @EmperorYakuzaku, ! Discord in the chat. You can find myself as well as the other members of CranKy. If this is probably the best way to get into contact with us, if for whatever reason. And other than that, buy my shirts. Yeah, you find you, right?
Yaku and I, we cast ESL Open Cup every single week. You can also find Yaku casting GPO. You also cast that every week as well.
Yeah, I do. Saturdays, 5 p.m. KST. I'm not reading off the schedules.
And you can find me at light_VIP on Twitch and Twitter. I'm probably going to be streaming during this 2-day break that we have. I'm going to be working on editing all the VODs from the weekend casts. That's typically how my week goes. You know, we cast pretty heavily, you know, Saturday, Sunday, Friday, and Monday. And then we have a couple of days to make sure we edit everything. We get the thumbnails ready, upload everything to YouTube. Speaking of, you know, !YouTube in the chat, head on over to our YouTube channel if you want to tune into some of our VODs if you aren't able to catch them live. Again, we have plenty of StarCraft, Latin American, North American, Oceanic, Southeast Asian, and Korean. So yeah, I mean, again, thanks everyone for tuning in. I think this is the most viewers we've had for an ESL Open Cup. So yeah, it's great. I hope everyone enjoyed it.
Thanks for the support.
Thank you for the support. We appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. Thanks everyone who stayed up as well. Everyone in America and Latin America. I know it's early morning for you guys, so the passion is real. And I think we're done for today, man.
Well, I mean, it was a bit of a shorter broadcast today. I'm used to the ESL Asia is going on for at least another 20 minutes or something. But yeah, that was quality over quantity, shall we say. Very hype matches we've had.
Definitely. It was beautiful to see. Unfortunately, we didn't get to catch Beyond, but regardless, we got to see Juanito, Rogue, Nightmare stats. It was great. It was beautiful. And I do quickly want to add, you know, !Patreon in the chat as well if you want to support the CranKy Ducklings. If you want to support the tournaments that we run, we have it set up to try and grow and expand our tournaments to kind of support the scenes, the amateur scenes, our Oceanic scene as well. We're trying our best to grow that. But yeah, I think that's all we have to plug for now.
Yes.
So
if you wait, do I need to send out a server or anything? But no. I don't have anything to plug.
Exactly. Thanks everyone for watching. If you want to support the StarCraft 2 community even further, stay tuned as we are going to be raiding another StarCraft 2 streamer. I'm not too sure who's live right now, but we're going to pick and choose, host them, raid them, and give them some love.
Yeah. Send them all of your ducks and whatnot, all your hearts. And with that, we will see you on Friday, I guess. No, see you in Thursday.
Yeah. Ciao.
Bella.